You are listening to the USDN on the DFPN.
It's a trap!
Hello there, it's the chairman of the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. And our guest tonight is a writer, an illustrator, an animator, and the creator of JUNKET, Hidden Worlds Revealed, a series that blends classic comic storytelling, mythology, faith, adventure, and bold cartooning into something truly unique. Inspired by legends like Jack Kirby, Darwyn Cooke, and classic animation, his work has become a cult favorite in Florida comic shops and is now expanded into animation, short films, and beyond. He's the founder of Farlook Studios, and tonight we are diving into what it really takes to build and sustain an indie comic universe from the ground up. The Council of Nerds is now in session. Welcome to the council, Ray. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's an absolute honor to be here. Appreciate you for letting me on.
Hey, no problem, dude. You hit me up, I think, in January to make this happen. So here we are. We're going to make it happen, dude, and have some fun doing it. Let's dive into it, man. So for anyone meeting you for the first time, who is Ray Reynet, and what path led you into comics, illustration, and animation?
Well, me personally, ever since I was a little kid, I've been fascinated by early animation, like the Fleischer Studios stuff, like the early Superman, Popeye, and all that. And of course, like the Walt Disney cartoons always like helped inspire me and kind of bring that wild wonder, into my brain and stuff. Like all those kinds of adventures and storytellings really impacted me when I was growing up. And I just never stopped believing in that stuff. And I started drawing ever since I was a little kid, and used all those ideas into my drawings and trying to see how I could maybe make a little book together, But I'm just trying to go up against Marvel DC, make something brand new, and hopefully, make something that stands the test of time, right?
Dude, we all are. We all are. Every time I get to come on this show and I have an indie creator on, I feel like we're taking one less peg away from Marvel and DC, dude. Nothing against them. They've made some great stuff over the years, but I really do think the indie comic scene as a whole is starting to take its hold on their spots. So right on, dude. So were comics always the goal, or did animation and illustration come first?
So I guess, illustration always really came first, because before I ever produced like a proper comic, I was just stapling random copy paper together as a kid and just using Crayola or whatever I would find.
Oh yeah.
To make covers and whatever my buddies would tell me. And yeah, that kind of path of just, always keeping that with me, persist all the way through college. And I was finally able to make my own comic from the ground up, basically. And it really is a story that I've been working on since middle school. So all my buddies, they always just saw all the early terrible versions, the rough drafts, and I just kept adding to it and just keep learning, and finally I was able to self-publish JUNKET. Yeah, man.
Dude, that's awesome. So did you go to college to learn how to do animation and art, or did you go for like accounting?
Well, no. And I'm still in college. Actually, I'm about to
Okay,
graduate this year.
nice.
And
Congrats, dude.
thank you, man. I originally started in 2D animation because that was my passion. I always wanted to
Mhm.
work for either Cartoon Network or Pixar or something.
Yeah,
But sadly, the way the world kind of works, the university ended up closing down and shutting its doors, and I was kind of left with a half-written comic that I was going to present to the class and maybe turn that into a little cartoon and stuff. And I realized, like, man, even if I don't have like that audience, or even if I don't have people to show it to or anything, I gotta just make this book just for me, like just to
yeah.
prove that I was able to follow through regardless, man. So yeah, it was a turbulent ride, man.
Oh, dude, I couldn't imagine being like almost to the finish line and then the school going, "Hey guys, we got to close it down."
Yeah,
Like
man.
that would just be absolutely heartbreaking. I know there's other really cool colleges like that spread throughout not only the U.S. but Italy as well. I know Sabe, who's an Italian comic book artist. He went to a college like that in Italy, which is really cool.
Yeah, man.
So, what were those early influences that really made you say that this is what I'm going to do, one way or the other? Was it like the Jack Kirby's and the Darwyn Cooke and that kind of stuff, or was it just
Yeah, man.
you saw pop out one day and was like,
That's
"That's
it.
what I'm doing"?
Yeah, man, 100%. Literally just early influences. My grandpa would burn like CDs back in the day or VHSs, and then we would just be watching whatever there was because we couldn't afford the cable TV or there was a hurricane and
Mhm.
stuff. We would just have like all these old cartoons that he filmed for me, and then just kind of rewatching all that. So those early like Felix the Cat, like in black
Oh
and
yeah,
white, stuff like that.
oh yeah,
That stuff was just super cool because to me it would just look like anyone could draw that, anyone could make it, an image and sequence and make it come to life. And I started practicing that. I couldn't afford Minecraft at the time or a video game. And I was like, man, you know what? I can't. I'll just draw it myself, or I'd watch a trailer of a movie and stuff, and I was just like, man, I'll
Mhm.
just draw the movie how I imagined it, as a kid. And
No,
stuff like that
that's
just
really
always,
cool.
yeah, man, it's always been an influence like that. But definitely Jack Kirby, one of the greatest artists I think I've
Oh,
ever
yeah,
like
without a
read.
doubt, dude.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad like he's finally getting more recognition, like in the movies, he's getting like his little quotes up there and stuff. But back then,
Yeah.
everyone just thought Stan Lee did everything, bro.
Oh
Uh,
no, dude.
yeah,
No,
man.
that's Jack. That's all Jack Kirby, dude. And
Exactly.
I'm happy that people are starting to realize that now.
Yeah,
But
man.
look how long it took.
Even like Wonder Man, like the most recent show, like even that was a Jack Kirby character design creation and all that, just a throwaway character, but here it is, still being
Yeah.
cranked out, and every last drop of his imagination is being squeezed by the machine, bro. So it's kind of
Oh,
crazy.
dude.
It's
Once they're done
wild.
squeezing all the juice out of those lemons, they're gonna move on to the next one. Trust me.
Yeah, man.
It will never stop. That is a billion-dollar industry, and it will keep juicing every lemon and lime they can.
Exactly, bro. And that's honestly that right there, just studying like all the greats that came before me, like Disney and Jack Kirby and stuff, and Steve Ditko as well. They
Ooh,
always
another good
kind
one.
of, that's a great one. They always kind of had like a cautionary tale to them. Like their careers were these amazing things, amazing imaginations, but always the studio screwed them over some way, somehow. And to this day, they're not making a single dime off all their creations. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's the difference, right? I'm trying to see how I could maybe start my own kind of thing, not just in comics, but in animation and video games and short
Mhm.
films. Like just try to make a small multimedia company surrounded by stuff that I own, because
Yeah.
uh, as soon as they stole like Walt Disney's character, he was left with nothing, right? He was broken and homeless at the time. So he decided, you know what? Let me draw a little mouse instead of a rabbit, and then here we are today, man. It's crazy, right?
Dude, that mouse itself is a billion-dollar empire who now
Yeah,
owns the Marvel properties and the Star Wars properties. And
insane.
so, yeah, it's amazing what that little mouse just bought and what he owns today. I
Yeah,
don't think in a million years he would have thought that that's where he was going to be, which
mm.
is really cool to see. Even if you believe he's still like frozen in a chamber
Yeah,
somewhere waiting for the
that's
cure
so
for
funny.
cancer.
That's wild. Yeah, man. And yeah, primarily the thing I wanted to really do was just because I'm kind of tired of seeing these characters. They've been around for like 80 years. They've been here since like the Great Depression. I'm like, how can we make something brand new? How can we?
So how do you feel about certain IPs hitting the for use, stage? Like, you just had
all right, they're like copyright free or whatever.
Winnie the Pooh, yeah, like the IP hit the streets and immediately we're making this into a horror movie. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think it's cool because it gives more power to the creators, right? And it's not just
Steamboat Willie. That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah. And stuff like I think it's like the public domain. That's what it's called.
Even Popeye just hit the public domain.
Yo, you never know.
He got a horror movie immediately. Like it's already happened. Like literally, Popeye got a horror movie not that long ago because the moment he hit public domain again,
instantly they adapted it. Yeah, man.
Dude, they have them ready to go. There's somebody out there watching the public domain list to see what's coming next. They're cranking it out, man. I'm not even mad. Use the IP. Like, I'm sure the creator himself would want the IP used.
Right. Well, maybe not in that way, right? Maybe a bit more
in that way.
Yeah, but I think 100%, true. I think it's cool that people are finally able to use stuff from back then. But primarily, like, my point being, like, Batman and Captain America and all these characters are, like, ancient. Like, they're actually literally from the Great Depression, from the golden age of comics, 80 years old plus. And it's just like, man, we have such a well of, like, imagination and fresh young artists that really want to make stuff and get their name out there. But it's difficult because the modern industries don't really have a set design to kind of allow that fresh blood in, right? They don't have that kind of mentality.
Yeah, and they very rarely do, like, casting calls or artist calls or writer calls. I know Top Cow just did one for artist. It actually might still be going. But again, at the same time, it's once in a blue moon. And what I love about independent comics is exactly that. We can still get the fresh blood out there and they can still come in and make their own work. I'm telling you, dude, but here soon, I'm going to put together like a 30 under 30 like ESPN does. Only I'm going to do it for young, talented comic book artists and writers coming up right now.
Dude, that's awesome.
And I probably know 30 of them, to be fair.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Even if they're like 30, that age between 22 and 30 years old, The
20-somethings era, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I probably know about 12 or 15 of them. And I could probably find a few. And I want to bring them all on the podcast and be like, let's just talk about what it is for you, which I think would be a dope show to do. Yeah, invite you back, invite Raymond back from the other Ray, sorry. And I've interviewed a lot of young cats here lately who are coming up in the industry, making their own comic books. And it's been very inspirational for me as a 40-something who spent 20 years of his life doing something else. And now he's working in the comic book industry, kind of, but also I'm writing a story on the side. Well, a couple of stories on the side to be made into a comic book as well. So I get a lot of inspiration watching y'all and talking to y'all. And I'm just like, dude, this is so cool. The future is so bright for the comic book industry if it's willing to invite the new blood in. 100%,
man. And first and foremost, that'll be amazing to have like a Secret Wars gathering of all the young creators, collab in one place. That'll be really awesome.
I'm telling you, dude, I'm going to put together a podcast episode and we're going to do like a 30 for 30 for young up and coming comic book writers and artists. And like I said, I think I know enough people to do it.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. And it's kind of a shame. You said it best. It was that the industry doesn't really kind of promote that kind of, young, fresh ideas. And I remember learning about a younger Todd McFarlane and how he would
broke the mold.
Yeah, man. But he would get like physical rejection letters. I don't get that nowadays.
Have you seen him post them? He'll post them too. If you go to look at his Instagram and stuff like that, he'll post them, man.
if I were to get a rejection letter, I would frame it. Is how proud I would be. Like the thing is, the submission boxes nowadays, like they don't even respond back. They don't even send emails or anything. Like it's really just kind of this empty kind of void of the industry that they're
business.
kind of
It's very business heavy now.
Exactly.
Like there's no, like I think I forgot who it was. Like Todd had one from like one of the bigger names in the industry, and it was just like a handwritten letter saying, "You're not quite there yet, kid. Keep it coming."
Yeah. You see like stuff like that. It was like, I think it was John Byrne or one of the other Canadian artists out in the local as well. And it's just
Matt, what's up, my dude? That's Matt Hasso. The dude, if you ever have a question about writing or art, Matt's got one of those superhuman comic book minds, man. He's really good. And see, you can call them young tastic talent. Yeah, actually, if you're okay with me showing some of your
100%,
the stuff you sent,
go for it.
Yeah.
Man.
But Matt's one of those dudes, man. He's a smart guy, really good at what he does, story building and storytelling. So
great to have you here, Matt. Yeah, bro. It's kind of wild to see.
Nelly's an email saying you suck. No, that was me, man. I sent you that email, but it was for something totally different.
You need more context, bro. That's crazy.
You don't need no more context. He knows what I'm talking about. That's literally what we do. Like we just give each other shit. It's fun that I have somebody that I can just be like Matt, and we just give each other shit. It's fun.
It's friendly, you know?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man. I think it's kind of a shame that now like the industry isn't really designed to let new people in, right? It feels like since they've become a monopoly and they literally own everything now, it's even more difficult, especially now with like Netflix buying Warner Brothers. Like it's literally just Disney and Netflix going toe to toe. It's absolutely wild to see that happen in modern day, and all these small studios and small like things like Pixar and Cartoon Network, they're kind of like becoming these small subsidiaries.
Here's some.
Yeah, man.
It keeps giving me an error for some reason on some of the files, so I wasn't able to bring all of them up.
That's all good. Yeah, man. I'm not working.
When he's not soaking up the Miami sun, he's working on comic books.
Yeah, man. 100%. So these three guys right here, or I guess four, including the little dog at the corner, these are the dwellers of the garden, right? So Junket is the main series, and these guys are the inhabitants of this magical world. And I wanted it to feel like, an interconnected universe and stuff like that. I wanted it to be a little bit of a kind of like a childlike adventure, just putting all those things that influenced me, like all the Disneys and all the Fleischer Studio cartoons, and just kind of see how I could reinvent and make my own kind of, I don't know, my own version of what I would want to adapt into a cartoon, right? So, yeah, man. I think it's fun.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And going back to what you just said, is it feels like something I would see on a Saturday morning cartoon, and that's what I loved about the stuff that you sent me over for Junket. It just looks so fun, like a Saturday morning cartoon. And yeah,
man. I've got other images on my website as well, but there's mostly the main like story truly revolves around a bearded character named Oscar, right? And he's going through his midlife crisis. He decides to quit his job for a life of action and adventure, and he decides like, hey, enough's enough. I'm gonna go into my own direction, because why not, right? If I could fail at something I love, might as well take a risk on something I don't know, right? Take a gamble. So he goes into this enchanted forest, this old ancient world that he finds within the woods, basically, and he doesn't realize it's another world within the forest. And he's able to find this guy here, the groundskeeper, right? This blue character, and he's like this protector of the ancient world. He's supposed to make sure no one comes through, but there's all these evils and ancient beings of mythology that are coming backwards through time or forwards through time in order to kind of resurrect. And neither of them have superpowers, but they're going up against the four horsemen of the apocalypse, right? So I just wanted to have that kind of like, that human story.
Nice. So is it okay if I bring up Farlook Studios to show?
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Because the homepage has a lot of really good art on it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Awesome stuff, man. Yeah, I've got a little bit of everything here. It's all an interconnected world, but it is primarily a...
And it's this one right here, Junket.
Yes, sir. So here we get a glimpse of a little bit of everything. There's got some of the animation stuff as well. Huge age gap, younger AIM comics. Yeah, man. 100%. I think, yeah, the dark and gritty stuff, all the 90s comics have kind of like taken over.
Yeah.
And ever since then, we've been at a stalemate. I remember literally the guy who made Watchmen, Alan Moore, he was like, man, they all followed me to the dark. Maybe if I do something bright, right, if I make something different, maybe they'll all come follow me out of the light as well. But we just kind of stayed in that Frank Miller era, right? Even now with Absolute Batman, like it's all really just that gritty stuff. And like my stuff isn't super violent, right? There's still blood and this and that, but it's not as grotesque as stuff.
We can see right here.
Yeah, man.
Our dude took himself an ass whipping right there. You can tell.
Yeah, man. But I don't like doing like gory stuff like Invincible or anything like that. I just want my characters to feel like it's just, again, for all ages. It's a story that people can relate to. It's a story that anyone could just kind of grab an issue and kind of understand what's going on as well. And I try to write it from the perspective of an everyman, right? Because the character Oscar, right, the bearded character, he's just an average guy. He's just a guy who's just going through the mundane routines of his job, and he's fed up with it. And it's kind of based on a true story a little bit. I'm not going through my midlife crisis or anything, but I used to work in insurance, and that kind of lifestyle just,
yeah, that's no different.
It wasn't for me, you know? Yeah, man. It was really nothing for me. So it just, I was like, you know what? I'll take a gamble. I'll take a risk and make something creative. And I think that's really where, you know, the true fulfillment is, you know, going to conventions for
even Alan Moore. He recently left comics. He's writing books. He's writing novels and stuff like that. I mean, and they're still dark and gritty, you know. But I'm a huge Alan Moore fan too. So
love his stuff.
That's me. I love his Swamp Thing. One of my favorite things ever. So
he did like a short series with like Image Comics. I think it's called 1963 or something like that. Or it was like, it's based off like the Stan Lee Silver Age era stuff, and he literally just parodied using the same words as Stan Lee would have used. And I hate that they never really finished that series, right? Because it would have been the comics coming back to the Silver Age, or to the kind of best, more popular part of it. You know?
Well, it was geared for children too. Before I don't remember when we went to the more, and there's still a lot of comic books out there for children. Like I know adults who just collect like the Scooby-Doo and Batmans. Powerpuff Girls are out there. I'm still a huge fan of Archie. Well, mainly Archie horror. Like the dude that does the Archie horror stuff is so good. And then dude, there's so many. Sonic the Hedgehog. I know a guy who just collects Sonic the Hedgehog comics. That's all he collects. So it's kind of wild.
Yeah, but whenever I go to like
Matt, behave yourself out there, Matt.
Yeah, man.
You can't just dress up like Wolverine all the time and be running around town. He's a big cosplayer too. Cool, and also writes a really mean comic book. So
awesome. But yeah, man. Whenever I go to conventions and stuff, I sift through all the old stuff, and if I see like Mighty Mouse or like whatever, you know, like all the Yogi Bears or stuff from I love seeing all that stuff, like the Tom and Jerry's and all that.
I got a couple of the Tom and Jerry's. Got a couple of the. I'm a big fan of the old school horror stuff from like EC Comics and stuff like that. Even the older Marvel stuff where they would do the little like weird horror comic books, you know?
Yeah, man.
And I love finding those, and they're really hard to find, but when you do find them, they're just so fun. They're usually beat to shit. You can tell somebody's read them and loved them.
Yeah, man.
But they're still fun to find and pick up and read, and because the stories are just so fun. They're not violent. It's just telling you a dark horror story. There's not very little blood. It's just, they're fun reads.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's just wholesome entertainment, you know. And I love stuff like Will Eisner as well. I've been recently like going back and kind of studying his Spirit comics because
Mhm.
they're coming out with the beautiful Darwyn Cooke collection that he did in homage to Eisner. And I just wanted to kind of see where his inspirations came from and everything, and why is
Yeah.
it called the Eisner Awards and stuff. And I was blown away as soon as I
You
picked up.
now why it's called the Eisners, right?
Yeah, man, it's amazing. Like the collection I have, it was just these little 9-page stories that were all compiled. But every single page, it would just invite me into this entire world that with texture, and it would be like character studies of random characters and people within that world, and it would just really be the psychological kind of heartfelt story. And I'm pretty sure at the top of it was like wholesome entertainment, or I think it was like this mystery comics or whatever. And just thinking about it in that sense of like this could be what we do today. Like, why did we ever lose the anthologies? Why did we lose the detective comics, the action comics? Because those made
Mhm.
Superman and Batman. Why did we lose that format throughout the years, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just making the same,
Just natural
I love,
evolution, really. And I
yeah,
like you. I love like the old school, like entertaining comic horror anthologies. They're so fun, and I'm so
yeah,
happy that AC Comics and Ani Press are still making those, like Catacombs of Torment and that kind of stuff, because they're just fun anthologies. Like even Boom Studios with Hello Darkness and R.L. Stein as his
mm,
book, and he invites other horror writers and stuff like that. And they're fun stories with lessons being learned in the stories, like, oh, you're being murdered because of this reason.
right, yeah,
Like, yay!
yeah. It
You
points right.
learned a lesson on your deathbed.
Yeah, man. And I think people kind of underestimate the kind of like power that comics do have, like as an art form, right? Like Eisner literally said, it's an art form. It's the best kind of way for a story to be told, and it's kind of true because we use both words and imagery combined into one. It's literally, I think it's more powerful than a movie at times, even because it literally is what the movies are drawing inspiration from, and
Well,
people seem to. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, I'm like, I wish they were drawing inspiration from the comics, because half
Yeah,
the time they'll
yeah, it's
take
like
two runs
loops.
of a
Yeah,
comic book, and then they're like, hey, I like this part of this story, I like this part of that story, I like this part of that story, and then they cram it into a movie, and it's like,
yeah,
what the hell were y'all trying to do? You could have just told that one story and it was
it
perfect.
was perfect.
Like
Yeah,
you didn't need to do nothing. Like it was perfection. Do you know who wrote that? Jack Kirby wrote that story.
exactly,
You
man.
did not have to do that. Just
Exactly.
tell the comic book story. And that's been my biggest complaint about the Marvel movies since they started making Marvel movies. I'm glad they started with Blade, because I think Blade was probably,
That's a
I'm a
classic.
huge, oh, exactly. And I'm just such a huge fan of the Blade character. Even when they, unfortunately, Nicolas Cage is, Ghost Rider. I love the character Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I absolutely do. I love Midnight Suns. I
right.
love those darker, grittier characters like that. They're magic. They're demons, and
They're
they're
dark. Yeah.
not of this world. They've always been some of my favorite characters, and I'm
Mm,
like, don't mess up those stories. It's
100%.
like hopefully someday we'll get a Justice League Dark led by Wonder Woman, and
Heck
we'll
yeah.
have Zatanna, and we'll have John Constantine in there, not Keanu Reeves, because that's like something totally different, but
Yeah,
actual John Constantine story. You know what I'm saying? Like the TV
exactly. Yeah.
series they were doing, which the TV series was brilliant. It was amazing. The can't remember the guy's name who was playing Constantine, but it was amazing. It was
Mm,
perfect. It was following the comic, but similar to what they did with the Sandman recently with Gaiman. Even though a lot of you say what you want about Gaiman, he's probably
he's
not
a
the
great
best human
writer. Yeah.
in the world, but the dude as a comic book writer was fucking brilliant. Pardon my language there, but the dude is a brilliant comic book writer. Like, but again, not the best human being in the world.
Yeah. Who knows, right?
The Sandman is a beautifully written story. It works on every single level. The character depth, the characters, it just works, right.
Mm-hmm.
And the
100%.
story they told on Netflix, where you could literally watch season 1 open up Sandman issue 1 and follow the comic book almost word for word. It was amazing.
That was a great adaptation, 100%. And I think
so that's Rouse right there, man. He's another guy, another young cat making a universe. And I'm telling you what I told you earlier, I probably knew about 30 guys under 30 that I could have a 30 for 30 for comic books, indie comic book writing. He's one of them, dude, because he's another really good one. Him and 615 Comics. Nathan does the Idolverse. Really good stuff coming from those guys. And I'm just like, man, the amount of young blood in the indie comic scene right now is amazing, dude. And I'm so happy I got to meet you tonight and talk to you tonight about that, because the future is bright, dude. Even Ray, I don't want to leave out Ray, because Ray is like a phenomenal writer.
The other Ray too.
the other Ray. The other Ray.
Yeah.
I'm looking at February, but let me go to January.
And
Ray McKay.
Ray McKay. Oh,
22, about to graduate college. He's right. He did Last Gen. He's working for Grok Comics right now, and he's writing for a few other places as well. 22 years old, just a brilliant writer as well. But yeah, dude, future is bright, man. I absolutely love it. But let's dive a little bit more into Junket. When you were building this world, what kind of story were you wanting to tell when you first created this?
Right. So originally, it was based off of that kind of just kind of naive storytelling of just wanting to all my buddies together going on a random adventure, and then it evolved from there, right, all the way from middle school all the way to now, right, in my young adulthood. And it's become a lot more, I guess, more about symbolism and mythology, right? It's more about how to convey just a good story that people want to reread or want to rewatch or whatever it may be. I think that people have kind of lost that, right? I want to be able to make something that I can enjoy endlessly, and I think that that's kind of the whole point of it, right? Because I don't want to see another 300,000 Spawn comics if I'm not going to get any value from it. Like, I love it, don't get me wrong, but
no, I feel you there.
Yeah, man.
And I'm a huge Spawn guy. I love Spawn. It's one of my favorite comics to read. It does get repetitive, and I'm glad that Todd will go, all right, this artist and writer is doing this arc.
Exactly.
We get to the next arc, we're going to switch it up. We're going to have another artist and another writer do the next arc. And every now and then Todd will step in and go, I'm going to write 2 books to get us to this arc. Exactly.
But I feel like that, me personally, I don't, in modern comics, like, there's some great writers, don't get me wrong, like people like Chip Zdarsky, artists like George Jimenez and Sean Gordon Murphy, amazing stuff, right, happening in modern comics. But it's just, we're kind of missing that childlike wonder, that kind of like just wholesome or just like hopeful or magical kind of thing. Like whenever I read like the Jack Kirby's Thor, it was literally transforming, it was going into a whole different world with all the tales of Asgard and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
it just was myth making. And I thought, man, I remember Stan Lee saying that superheroes are like the modern day Olympian gods, right? And that's really kind of how it is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, Jack Kirby just got a road named after him in New York City, which is so cool. Finally, it only took 50 freaking years to recognize this dude's greatness.
Exactly.
And it's really cool. And honestly, the next time I'm in New York, I got to go get a picture with it. So that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, man. I don't even know that. That's pretty cool.
But it might have just been for the movie, though. I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure he got his own street finally, which, he, again, you can name every street Jack Kirby way in New York, and I would be cool with it.
Right.
But
street or whatever, yeah, man. I think it's just kind of, it's a shame that modern storytelling doesn't really it keeps homaging itself. It keeps doing throwbacks to its own continuity, and it's too much, for an outside reader. They don't know where to start. They don't know, oh, do I have to watch the movie? Oh, but the book's not the same. And I wanted to make something.
Yeah, that's what's wild, is it not? Like,
exactly.
The comic book the movie doesn't match the comic book. The story
Yeah.
told in the comic isn't going to match what's in the movie. It's the wildest shit ever. Don't call the movie by that comic book's name if it's not going to be about that comic book.
Exactly. And I wanted to personally make something that was more like cohesive, right? And I wanted to bring value to the reader in any way that I could. And the stories that impacted me, you know, and even now I wasn't able to read them when I was younger, but stuff like Dante's Inferno, stuff like the Odyssey, the Iliad, you know, writers like
You didn't have to read those in school?
No, I didn't. I completely had, you know, public school, and they never.
I went to public school and I still had to read those.
Hey man, I think I had to read like whatever, you know, they had on their agenda. But I'm so grateful I was able to have that interest in poetry and old literature, because I was able to see like, man, this is an actual 3-dimensional character just in words, and how their story isn't just like, oh, you know, and he went to hell and whatever, and then he went to purgatory. It's not about the physical things. It's like the psychological journey that the character goes on, and that you as an individual are able to learn from. Right.
It's painted so much in detail. He didn't just go to hell. He went to 7 stages of it.
Exactly.
But yeah, let's get it right. If we're going to talk about it, it was 7 stages there, and none of it was good.
Yeah, man. But people don't seem to.
Could you imagine that, though? The way he painted those 7 stages and the way he described those 7 stages, and then having to actually go through that is wild to think about.
The fact that that stuff is still true to this day as well, because it's not. He wasn't just writing about his own personal life. He was writing about the things that were happening to the people around him and to the state itself and to the society he was building in. And I think that that's kind of important, right? To integrate those kinds of narratives and to integrate like something that we could learn from as writers and as readers, you know, as we're going through it.
So that's Nathan. He's asking, what are the aspirations for your comic book and where do you want to take it? Which is cool, because that's actually one of those questions I had coming up here soon, and we can go ahead and answer it, though.
So, I mean, I'm trying to make something that literally outlives me and outlives the people around me. I want to make something that just sticks to, you know, goes against the test of time and really just impacts and inspires young people, old people, anyone from any age. I'm turning it into a small little animated series, and I'm literally learning to animate it myself. I have a couple of programmer buddies that are helping me turn it into a little video game adaptation as well. And I'm getting the products and things together to actually do a short film, where I have to like build the costumes and everything and choose the place.
That's so cool.
Yeah, man. So it's very it's terrifying a little bit, right? To kind of like put myself out there and really try this stuff, you know, go to the podcast, go to the conventions, and you know, wherever I have to drive 2 hours to Fort Myers or wherever I need to go. It's just really just putting myself in places that I don't feel comfortable in order to just learn and grow as much as humanly possible. And I think that the story that I want to tell is like how you can overcome your fears and how you could literally become more than what the world tells you are, right? I want to help inspire people. Right now, the short comic strips that you had shown previously, right, with the 3 characters, thankfully, it's a comic company called A Kid and a Comic. They're serializing it in the in like a new actual physical newspaper magazine, and they're sending it out to like children's hospitals and churches and stuff like that. And that's so wholesome, right? So
let's pause right there before you go any further. That's actually a question I had for you. Do readers ever surprise you with how deeply they are connected with this story? And from what you're telling me there, that is so freaking cool that they're doing that with your story.
It's beautiful, man. And even just meeting young artists and people who are aspiring to be artists at conventions. Literally, it could be a little 5-year-old and their parents are like, oh, look, he does what you could do. And you could be like him. And just that alone is like beautiful. Or like the kid just flipping through the books and you see the spark in their eyes. Man,
dude, that's my favorite part.
That's
right there. Even like today, like, because what I like to do is we do a trunk or treat every year, and I will go and order kids comics from my local comic book shop by the box. I'll buy like 2 boxes of the free comic book day books, and I will give those out at trunk or treat during Halloween just to have something different. I mean, I'll still give some candy too, but I just want to spread my enjoyment of comic books with other people as well.
That's
So
awesome.
I literally, my own money, you know, kids comics, you know, I think I forgot how much they cost me. Like it comes in like a bundle of 50 or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, for free comic book day. And that's what I do. Like,
Yeah.
it's really fun just to be able to give a kid possibly their first comic book.
Exactly, man. Every comic is someone's first, right? And I think
Exactly.
it's beautiful to kind of see that. And honestly, I don't really care about becoming rich or famous or whatever. I don't care about any of that stuff realistically. Just to me, just envisioning the 4-year-old version of myself be happy with what I've made, and then seeing that same feeling translated to the audience that I'm slowly growing is just amazing. And it ranges from either the kids are loving the books and this and that, or their parents or their dads and stuff are like looking over like, hey, let me see it. Let me get let me get another one. Let me see it. This one looks kind of cool, actually. Just seeing that kind of range of just imagination.
That's one of those things where it's like, if there's one feeling that you could go back and experience again for the first time, it would have to be getting your first comic book again.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Just so I could remember the look and the feel and the smell one more time of, turning those pages. And like, yeah, those pages have kind of yellowed in this book because it's been loved, and I don't want to say used. They've been loved. They've been read. They've been flipped through. The coupons for the X-ray vision goggles have been cut out of the back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was some of the very first comic books that I got, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Exactly. And I'm really trying to capture that kind of nostalgia. Like my stuff looks like old retro cartoons. It looks like Walt Disney cartoons or Fleischer Studios. And it's like the Silver Age of Marvel mixed in with like the goofy, zany stuff of like early Batman and, Finest and stuff. I wanted that to really kind of be the outlook of like the foundation of it, how it's presented, so that anyone could enjoy it. But within it, the core of the writing is this transformative story where the character literally goes through all of these things. He quits his job. He goes into this unknown forest, right? Him and the groundskeeper, they go time traveling. They fight these monsters and this and that. They fight the horsemen of the apocalypse. All these odds are stacked against them, but they're still able to persist regardless. And it's painted in this childlike kind of charm, right? That's really the goal of what I'm trying to do, is build something that's just iconic and just timeless, 100%.
So how did you feel that when Junket became like this cult favorite in comic shops down in your neck of the woods? Like how did that make you feel? Like that's got to be like this amazing feeling of pure enjoyment that comic shops are selling your comic book very well down there, and it's become like this cult thing. How did that make you feel, man? Because it ain't even my book, and I feel like a certain kind of way about it because it's so cool to see.
Yeah, man. And it's fascinating because I finished creating the book in 2024, and 2023, and then that same year of turn of the year, I wanted to decide, like, let me go to at least one convention at least once a month, right? So all the way from January of last year to January of this year, I've been just trying to really just build that kind of that movement, that momentum. I had to distribute the books myself. I would have to literally drive to wherever the stores were after kind of contacting with them and stuff. And it's just really fascinating to see, hey, my books, wow, my book, the thing I made is really here next to the Batman comic and the Spider-Man stuff. And it's like, damn, I'm like kind of setting my foot in the door of this thing that I thought was unattainable. Right. And I think that's really,
that's so freaking cool. Yeah, I always love when I see, because a lot of comic book shops won't carry indie comics like that. I mean, they'll carry indie comics, but not like,
it's not easy.
Indie comics, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they'll carry Dark Horse, Boom, but those are big names at this point.
Mainstream too,
Yeah, but it's really cool. Like I've been to some comic shops, and there was like one little stand off to the side, and I'm like, oh, what are these? And they're like, oh, it's local guys who bring in their comic books. I'll buy them for
those are
whatever, and I'm just like, that is so cool. Let me go have a look through the carousel, and you'll catch one or two of them will always catch your eye, you know?
Yeah, man.
And it's just really cool to see when a local comic shop will actually carry local comics.
Yeah, man. I think it's crazy because most of the time I thought it was everyone was gonna be like kind of standoffish or whatever, but really all the people at conventions or at the stores are like super nice because they're all like-minded, right? They all kind of think the same way. We all like the same things, and it's really just a love for the game, right?
And
So
then it's selling, giving them your sales pitch, right? And telling them like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And if they got kids with them, they're gonna be like, oh, let me check that out for the kids, and have a look through it. So, but no, it's really cool, dude. And when I had read that about you, I was like, dude, that is so freaking cool to see it, you becoming like this cult legend down there in South Florida. But there's Junket and then there's Florida Man.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's super cool to like tell people my story, and then just by literally just being myself, they're able to kind of get a little bit of inspiration from me just really just passionate about this thing, this dream, and they just kind of, it makes them want to go and hit the drawing table and draw stuff, and maybe I'll write this thing, and just one little sentence a day, just one drawing a day, even if it's on a sticky note, even if it's on your laptop or on a piece of a napkin or whatever, like just go for it, because nothing's promised, right? You just got to keep going, stacking the momentum, right? Stack those wins and just learn from the failure, because it's not really failure if you think about it. It took you all of that effort to then fail. Then it was just a lesson, right? It was just these things that kind of helped you go along the way. These are character builders, right? These are things that make you what the hero has to go through, all of the terrible things and all the suffering and pain. That's what makes them strong, right? And I want to inject that into not only into inspire people, but into the work itself. I put that kind of story within the book and within the narrative. So yeah, man.
No, I like that. So you are fully 100% independent and self-published.
100%.
What were some of those biggest challenges that you were faced with when you decided to go that route?
I mean, yeah, some of the challenge. I mean, every challenge, right?
I mean, that's literally you threw a brick wall in front of yourself, and
exactly, man.
You built it yourself, the whole nine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going against these monopolies, basically these giants that I can't even talk to them because they're listening to submissions. I can't find them at any of the local shows, but I don't really see that as a bad thing, because I'm not waiting for handouts or for someone to come rescue me. I think it's kind of foolish to think that way, and that's how all of the artists that I admire, that's how they got taken advantage of, right? So I think it's just fascinating seeing all the things that get in the way, because that just makes the story that much better once I am finally able to go over that hill, right? I think reading old biographies of, like, again, just Walt Disney and Steve Jobs, like all these people, they didn't have it easy at all, right? Walt Disney was younger than I am. I'm 24 right now. He was literally 21, had just turned, and his first business already was bankrupt, and he was sleeping in his office as his house, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it takes sometimes. Not to say that I'm going to be any of these guys, but I really think that every kind of story of anyone's life always has to have those difficulties. I had a math teacher literally tell me, "Oh, those drawings aren't going to be nothing. All right, whatever. Oh yeah, stop doing that. It's a waste of time. You're never going to make any money off these."
Did you send him one?
Not yet. I will, though.
You got to send him a copy. You got to send him a copy. Autograph it and send it to him.
100%. But that kind of stuff, it just motivates me a little bit, right? All the things that get in the way just makes it that much more of a risk, right? To just move forward and really just cut through and just try to see, because we don't have anything to lose realistically. You might as well try, right? Because
100%.
Yeah, it's gonna be expensive to do it. Or it's gonna be an investment, right? It's gonna be risky to try it out. But just imagine, like, that, the regret and the bill you're gonna get from not trying. I don't want to see that, right? So
dude, 100%. So what would you think was the hardest part of it? Was it printing, distributing, marketing? Which one of those really kind of was like when you were into that phase of the book where you were like, damn,
Yeah, and the production stages of it.
Yeah.
Just trying to carve out time whenever I could. Because right now I'm working a day job.
The time is the killer of all dreams, man.
Yeah, bro. And it's just waking up a little bit earlier, going to sleep a little bit later, trying to see where I could make time. And just that was insanely difficult. But definitely the printing it's not easy. Like I'm able to self-publish it through Amazon, but it's super expensive to get those things printed and then to physically, with my own money, my own car and everything, buy the tables at conventions and reinvest all that stuff.
Yeah, and those prices have gone so high over the years.
Exactly, man. And the printing quality is inconsistent too. Like I don't have the kind of decision making that an editor has, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of have to like see.
You need an editor? I know editors.
Right. I mean, it's still though, but it's difficult to kind of keep the print quality consistent throughout, right? Because if there's errors in it, I can't go to Amazon. I don't know where they came from. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit trickier like that, but it's definitely, again, it's just character builders. I just eat the costs and I keep going forward trying to see how I could make it all back, you know.
Dude, I love to see it, dude. And I really do hope it, you know, you get to where you need and want to be. But I do know a good editor if you need one.
That's cool, bro.
But for creators watching who want full creative, watching or listening later, who want full creative control, what does creative independence really mean day to day? It's not all sunshine and rainbows, even though you're in Miami.
Yeah, no, that's
it's cold there right now, okay?
Yeah, it's right now, but usually it's scalding hot. I think that the best thing about going solo is literally I'm able to now do what all of the creators that I admired, they were starting to do and wish that they could do earlier on, right? Like Jack Kirby started self-publishing his stuff, I think late into the 80s, you know, towards the later parts of his life where he was barely able to draw as well as he used to. And I think even like, Disney had his character stolen before he was able to even get it off the ground. And just, I think that the self-publishing route is probably the safest bet because you get to own your own IP. You don't have someone breathing down your neck or telling you, don't change this, remove that. And it's not going to be as financially like stable as I guess some of the other artists are. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it to leave something that's just good. You know, I just want to make good art, leave something amazing behind. Because I don't think the people drawing Batman every day are really thinking about like, oh, how is this going to impact the future? Like they don't care about that. They're just trying to make a paycheck. Yeah, they're just drawing Batman, some cool dude.
I mean, if you're drawing Batman, I think you've made it.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, I know I've made it as soon as I see a young kid be like inspired or whatever. Like at one of the conventions I went to, and this is stuff that normally people working for DC and stuff, I've met a couple of them. They're like, they have to like wear a little uniform there at the conventions. They're like, we got to sell this stuff. We can't sell our own. You know what I mean? And it's not easy. But at one of the conventions, there was this young artist, and they were going to go meet one of the established real Marvel DC artists, and they ghosted. They weren't there. And
dude, that is the biggest pain in the ass. Every time I go to a convention, is they don't show up, or hey, they won't be here until 1300 because they're in their rooms doing commissions, because that's how they earn their real money, is making off commissions.
Yeah, and I met some of them. Their prices were way too high. All of them were kind of like these antisocial, grumpy old men. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like it's kind of what you're gonna get. Yeah. But I think that day, or that person, that young artist who ended up meeting me, they said, "Hey man, I was supposed to meet so and so at this table. They weren't here. But man, your story of like who you are and how you're so young, you're doing all this. Like this is so much better than having met that person. This is so much cooler." Mm-hmm. I don't know, all that stuff.
I mean, I will say though, I think there's more good than bad out there, and I've met some of my favorites throughout the years since I've gotten back into comic books, and some that I would have never thought about following, or even think about their art or their stories. And here I am today, like I see their art and their stories, and if I see their name pop up on a book or something, I'm like, I'm going to go get that book.
Exactly.
Because I know their art, and I know the way they tell stories. I know the way they write, and I'm just like, this person could write anything in the world about whatever in the world, and it's probably going to be great because I've not seen them put out a bad story yet. So
yeah, it's always an honor to meet some artists that completely exceed expectations. I was able to meet the late great Neil Adams at Florida SuperCon before he passed. And he was pricey, don't get me wrong, but he was super humble and very nice. He signed my copies of Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and he was like, these books, they changed the world a little bit. And I was like, yeah, man, that's so cool. Like it fed into the dream a little. And then meeting Jim Starlin after Infinity War was crazy, right? That was pretty awesome. And
what do you have to say about them completely ruining the story with the movie?
Yeah, man, but he was super cool. He was just super humble, very nice guy. I think it was literally $20. Take a photo with me, sign it, whatever you want, man. He gave me a bunch of advice for writing and drawing your own stuff, and it's just, you never know, man. It's really a mixed bag, but the community of comic creators, it's all love, and I think that's really what the main.
It really is, and like I was saying earlier, I've met some really great people at conventions, artists who I've never seen or heard from at that point. And then I realized, like, oh, you write that one book? I have that one book. I didn't bring it with me. And they're like, oh, don't worry. And they pull it out and was like, here.
Yeah, man.
And then sign it. And you're like, oh, dude, this is so awesome. I wish I would have brought my own copy, because I know my own copy is a first print of that book, but still. When they take, that 5-10 minutes out of their day and talk to you and, just like, hey, do you have any questions about the story? I'm like, actually, I did have one question about this one part here, because I don't know what happened. I'm missing something. And then they're like, oh, you have to go back and read this other book, which is like the prequel to this book.
Right.
And this little area right here will make sense. So, then I'm like, okay, cool. Then I seen them at the convention the next year. I'm like, hey, it made it 100%, sense now. And I brought both books, for her to sign. And she thought it was funny. She's like, you actually went and bought? I'm like, yeah, I went. I needed to know what that meant, She's like, well, I didn't want to, give it away because it's such a good read. I wanted you to read it. I'm like, well, I read it and now I understand. And like, can you sign both these now?
Yeah, man. Some of my favorite stuff is like, if it's like a little kid, he can't afford it or anything, I sign it and I give it to him anyways, because I know that's gonna make his day. So it's just meeting people that do the same courtesy for me is just amazing. I think it's really just it goes full circle a little bit, right? Because we grow up loving these books, these things that just are entertaining and fun. Then we grow older, we appreciate them even more, and we realize like, damn, this is like a gift we could pass down. It's like passing down the torch a little bit, but yeah, man.
Yeah, and like I said, you can never relive that moment of getting your first comic book. And God, do I wish I could. Every time I get a really good book, it's one of those where I'm like, I wish this was my first time. And then I'll find another really great series. I'm like, maybe I wish this one was my first.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
So, but you were expanding Junket into animation, short films, and other media. What was that? What was the thing that led to you going, I think I want to do this next with this, with Junket?
I think it's just, I feel like I see the value in the IP the most, right, than anyone else around me. I'm able to like see like, oh, this has potential to be, whether it's a movie or this and that, and hey, might as well use the things that I have around me, use what you can to do the best that you could offer, right? And I have buddies who were interested in making video games, and even if they hadn't tried it or done it yet, I was like, hey, I have this idea, we could kind of maybe adapt it together. So yeah, I mean, it was literally just trying to see how I could just turn people's attention, spin heads around and see, hey, maybe this thing has legs to grow. And yeah, I was doing the pixel art for the game, or it's going to be like an old Zelda RPG kind of style, right?
Stuff,
yeah. And then they were learning
And I
literally.
love seeing that those are making this weird little comeback, you know? Like you can literally, there's websites that host these little 8-bit pixel video games of different things, and they're just so
100%.
fun to play.
Yeah, those emulators. We were actually looking at old like websites that emulate those games, and I was like, yeah, I want this kind of game like this. And then it needs to be able to move in this direction or has these kinds of weapons and stuff. And they were literally able to learn from scratch almost, just by a passion, just and believing in what I was trying to create. And it's just so fun to see my friends kind of gather and help me
and
out.
them buying into what you're selling too is got to be really cool. That not only do they believe in the product, but more importantly, they believe in you and what you've created, which has to be like one of those really cool films or feelings.
Super heartfelt, and it's really kind of wonderful because most of them even saw me since middle school, right? So they literally saw that early idea, that thing just kind of grow into what it's become. So it's just been an honor to really just.
It's got to be really cool too to have friends that have stuck with you that long, because you don't see a lot of that anymore. Of people like, oh, that's my friend from 3rd grade over there, and they've been down since day one. You know, you just don't hear a lot of that anymore. I mean, I'm still friends with a lot of people that I grew up with. I don't talk to them as much as I wish I could because I don't live there anymore. But anytime I'm home and I run into them, it's like we just pick it right back up, right? Because we went
like no time had passed. Yeah,
we went from elementary to graduating together. So it's always really cool when you get to run into those friends, and to still have those friends has got to be such a really cool feeling. I wish more people got that feeling of having those people with you from day one.
Yeah, man. And even though, we always have our up and downs, people drift apart, this and that, but we always are able to reconnect. And that's really, we were able to reconnect to make this project together. And it's just super cool to just even like test the waters with a small demo of what it is. And it's just awesome stuff, bro. Yeah, 100%.
That's really cool to see, man. So I'm going to ask you one of those questions that I ask everybody that comes on the podcast. What advice would you give to a creator launching their very first indie comic right now?
I know
it's kind of like one of those stowaway questions that everybody asks, but it's one of those where every time I ask it, I get a different answer to a varying degree. So
that's a core question, 100%. I think the advice I'd give them is to, first and foremost, never give up on it. Even if it looks bleak, just keep on going. It'll all be worth something. Everything happens for a reason, right? And God's watching. He knows you're going to be just fine throughout, through it all. In terms of the production, definitely just try to have a cohesion from panel to panel. Have it flow in a particular way, right? There's the idea of the first panel and the last panel have to flow almost in like an S or in a Z pattern, right? So that way it guides the eye. Have artwork that kind of helps jump out of the box a little, so it guides the story even further. And just put your heart and soul into what you're writing, because the more real and the more raw the writing is, the more guttural and true it feels to the person reading it. I think that stuff really hits home. Like whenever I'm at convention and I'm like, oh, this character's going through his midlife crisis, he quit his job, this and that. People always laugh, and then they're just like, man, that's me, this and that. They always like, you know what I mean? And it's just that kind of connection immediately is important. And
so before we start wrapping this up, I want you to talk to us about Farlook Studios and kind of like what was the long-term vision for that, because it's really a really cool thing that you are doing over at Farlook Studios.
Yeah, man. So I mean, you said it yourself. It's a long-term vision. That's the whole point of the name. It's Farlook. It's seeing far into the future, seeing potential, seeing the idea of young artists being able to own their work and being able to promote it and push it through their own accord without having anyone force their hand or make it to something else. I just started as a way for me to kind of brand my work, but I realized if I'm going to start branching out into multimedia, it's important to literally have that kind of the brand identity, that name that really just kind of pushes that forward. And it's just the simplest way is to inspire hope with the name. It's there's a phrase in Spanish, right? That's short steps with long vision, right? It's like a long range vision with short steps that we take. And I think that's kind of the whole core of that company. So it's just homemade, right? Just like Steve Jobs in his garage or whatever it may be. But I think it has potential to maybe not overthrow any of the big companies or anything, but I'm just trying to see how I could maybe start something here in Miami that really
grassroots, man. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, is grassroots, and you started here, and next thing you know, it's over there. And that's what's great about these types of platforms here is I get to allow you to have that, to expand that look and that reach out. And that's why I love to do what I do, is because it does give y'all that opportunity to reach out further and further. And hopefully somebody else knows Ray Reynet's, book and his studio is really amazing. And then they pick it up, and then somebody else picks it up. And, it's just, that's the charm of this. And why I love doing this is because I get like I said, I get to meet really cool up and coming artists, writers, people with visions at such a young age that I'm like, I could have never have imagined that personally, because I went a completely different route in life. And now here I am in my 40s, getting to do this, getting to talk about comic books, getting to talk about independent creators and learn about independent creators and bring them a spotlight, putting them on their pedestal for an hour and a half, and just letting these people, letting the Ray Reynets of the world tell their story to a bigger audience. And it is so much fun to get to do and get to meet everybody who comes on the podcast, because everybody's story is different, but the vision is always the same. And that's put independent comics on the map. And by damn, y'all are freaking doing it. And I love it.
Yeah, bro. And honestly, it's an honor to even be on this kind of platform. I think I never want to overlook anyone, because it's amazing to, like you said, just meet all different kinds of people, just get in contact with younger artists, get in contact with people who appreciate the culture. It's really the perfect kind of platform. And to just, like you said, just spread awareness of the indie comics that are always hidden around the corners, But yeah.
Oh, dude, they're everywhere. And I'm telling you, we're going to do this again soon. I'm going to bring the Nathan Rouses, the Ray McKays. I'm going to bring like 5 or 6 of you dudes on, and we're going to do like a 30 under 30. Everybody's going to get asked the same question, and everybody's going to get their chance to respond and answer those questions. I think that would be a lot of fun to get to do. All these guys from different walks of life, but they all have that one singular passion, and that's bringing their comic book to the people.
Yeah,
and to me, that's like the ultimate, like, for me, I'm excited just thinking about that. I'm like, I'm going to have to email these guys, and we're going to have to find us a good date to do something like that, because that would be so much fun in my eyes to bring all these young, talented writers and artists on the podcast at the same time and just talk comic books and what got us here and that kind of stuff. That would be so much fun.
It's just pure passion.
Yeah, dude, like that would be so fun. I'd probably be one of those where I'm like, we're going to need at least 2.5 hours.
Easily, minimum. 100%.
But it would be so much fun to do. But Ray, before I let you go, my dude, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can pick up a copy of your book.
So all of the Junket stories and all my comics are out on Amazon right now. Just type in Hidden Worlds Revealed Junket, or just type in Ray Reynet and I'll show up right immediately. I have a YouTube channel where I show all of my stuff behind the scenes of making the comics, of coming up with the concepts, where it's literally just Farlook Studios or just Ray Reynet. And follow me on Instagram, where I post almost every day, really, where I just show all the behind the scenes of going to conventions and just kind of taking you guys along the journey with me. But yeah, man. never stop creating comics, never stop chasing that dream, and upwards and onwards, 100%.
Dude, I love it. And I can't appreciate you enough for coming on and talking junket and just being yourself, dude. And that's what makes this so much fun to me, is getting to meet all you guys who are doing this every day. You're in school, you're writing comics on the side, you're still going to conventions, you're hand delivering your comic book to local comic book shops. So, but if you're willing to come back on later and do like a 30 for 30, dude, I will happily have you back on. Or if you just want to come back on and talk about a new project or anything else, dude, you're more than welcome to come back, and we'll sit down and we'll run this back again, because this was a lot of fun tonight, dude. This is how my Tuesday nights should always be.
Heck yeah, bro. It's an absolute pleasure. And it's, once I have actually a couple big conventions coming up, SuperCon out here in South Florida, and it's going to be my first massive real convention. So I don't know.
Are you going to do the big one in Orlando this year?
I might be able to do that one next year. I already got in contact with some of the people, but there's the Otaku Fest.
So hard to get into.
Yeah, dude. They're all difficult, but I think we've got a good chance to get in line for one of those tables. But it'd be an absolute honor to be on the show.
Can't wait to see it, man. But everybody go out, give Ray a follow, and stay tuned, man, because I'm going to get all these young guys on the podcast one day, and we're going to have like a big, just fun-filled show where we learn about all these guys from all different walks of background and how they got to where they are today. It's going to be a lot of fun. But Ray, thank you for bringing your worlds, your honesty, and your creativity to the United States Department of Nerds. And to everyone watching, if you love indie comics, creator-owned stories, and the people brave enough to build those stories, make sure you like, follow, and share, because this is the United States Department of Nerds, where indie comics come to life. The council is adjourned.
It's a trap!